I'm so excited to talk to you because when I saw your post on Facebook, I was like, what a great story. Oh my gosh. So,
Oh my gosh. I have to tell you, so before I made this post, I was a little embarrassed and I went back and forth. I'm like, do I post this? Do I not post it? I had never actually posted something like that before, but I thought it was a really great learning experience for other women, so that's why I went ahead and did it.
yeah, and I just want to read everyone a little bit of the start of the post. So, the post starts, Alexandra writes, I did something crazy. It turned out to be the best decision I could have made. And then she goes on to say, at the age of 37, I decided to go on one of those sketchy dating sites to meet men that also like to travel. I figured I'd have tried every other way to meet my future husband, so why not try this? I won't go into the rest of it because it's a pretty long post, but tell us a little bit about that and what happened. What happened?
Sure. Sure. So, well, what the post is about is I guess I was at a point of desperation. So I'm now 38 years old. So uh, in the last few months, I've gotten a year older. But so I was at a point of desperation. Truly, like I really want to find a husband. I really want to have kids, and I'm not getting any younger. So I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna figure this out? So I would call myself a strategist, if you want to call it that. So I'm like, all right, let's see how to make something come of this. Also, too, like I've traveled a lot over the years, and I've learned that I'm attracted to a very particular type of man. So I went on this website for men that also like to travel because I love to travel, and I really took the time to put together like the ultimate dating profile that truly represented me. Like I didn't want to just put up a bunch of sexy photos. I wanted to show like the full scope of who I am. And I got a bunch of really weird messages, to be honest. But I got this one. It was from a man actually in Saudi Arabia, which has its own stereotypes for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we can go into that more later. And he actually messaged me once. I didn't respond. About 2 months later, he messaged me again, um, saying that he had actually, I'm from Seattle, Seattle, Washington,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that he had also gone to school in Seattle, but is from Saudi Arabia and lives there now. So I thought I'd respond back, and I didn't want to chat back and forth for too long, so I recommended we move to WhatsApp. This was my recommendation actually, because I didn't want to waste time. I was like, just just go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Let's just fail fast.
yeah,
If we're
let me
gonna
just,
fail.
yeah, right. I don't have the time to chat
No.
a whole manuscript back and forth. So, anyways, we went to video chat. After that day, we have talked every single day, morning and night, because of the time difference. We haven't stopped talking, and it's been, I don't even know how many months now, 8 months, something like that. So it's been quite a while. But going back to that post, um, it was about our first date.
Mm.
We had never met before, and he asked me. So we talked back and forth for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked me, he's like, where's your dream travel destination? So the one thing missing in the post actually is I've traveled almost everywhere I really want to go, but I've been holding out on one location, and that was my dream honeymoon. Because I always dreamed, like, all right, eventually when I do get married, my future husband's gonna say, all right, Alexandra, so where do you want to go on a honeymoon? And then I'm gonna say, well, I've already been everywhere. And that kills the romantic mood. So I've been holding out on South Africa. So
Wow.
I
Okay.
was like, you know what? What the hell? I'm just gonna tell this guy my dream trip is to go to South Africa. And he's like, okay, well, let's do it. So he's like, do you want to go anywhere else? And then I was like, well, how about Dubai? I've never been to Dubai before. So they're not that close. It's still like a 8 or 9 hour flight between them.
Sweet.
But he's like, all right, we'll meet in Dubai and then we'll go for almost a month to South Africa. And
Wait a second. This is your first date, right?
this was our first date ever. I know how it's, I even feel, oh my gosh, I feel funny even telling you this.
No, no, it's
But
great. I want to hear everything.
I was, in my mind, I'm like, all right, if I'm going to go for it, I might as well just go for it. It was 5 days. And the reason we went to Dubai, I wanted to go to the World Expo because I used to live in Milan, Italy.
Okay.
I was actually dating a man in Italy. And while I was there, they had the expo, and I went to that, and it was incredible. But the craziest thing happened. So the minute I land, so it's truly like it felt like we knew each other. It was easy right from the get go. But he actually was super, super, super sick.
Oh
Like,
no.
like when I say sick, I mean like bedridden,
Oh my gosh.
really ill. We had to call a doctor to the hotel room. So I ended up, for the full time we were in Dubai, I ended up just taking care of him in bed, and we hardly left the room at all, which is
Oh.
crazy. Which is
What
crazy.
what was wrong with him? Did he have like food poisoning or something?
He had tonsillitis.
Oh, I've had it's bad. Yeah, a poor
So
guy. That would have been
he had a
horrible.
really high temperature, and here I was just like, oh my gosh, this is our first date, and this poor guy he's trying so hard to make a good first impression, and yet he's just, oh my god, he's sweating profusely, and he had 105-degree temperature, and
Yeah, and he would have just his throat
oh
would have just absolutely been so
yeah.
sore. Yeah.
So
Wow.
but I think actually,
That sucks.
in a strange way, I feel it brought us closer together.
Okay.
It really, I don't know, I'm like, all right, this is good. Like, I get to show him that I can be a loving, caring future wife
Before
or
you've even been
girlfriend.
out to dinner together.
Like, that's an important thing. I want my
Yeah,
spouse to be
totally.
able, if I'm sick, I want somebody to be able to take care of me in a nice way.
Yeah, totally,
So,
totally.
yeah.
Okay, so how long was that? How long did that last for? Like,
Oh, well, the entire time we were in Dubai. It's one thing, maybe you can fake being somebody for a day or 2 days, or a date for a few hours at a time, or, every week or something like that. But when you're staying with somebody literally a full month straight, 24 hours a day, you can't not be yourself.
right.
And it was just so beautiful to experience. Like, we laughed so hard. We both have the same dorky sense of humor. We both, I don't know, we're super adventurous. We both got excited over the same things. And it was just so exciting to experience. And I wish that everybody could experience that at least once in their lifetime, if not with their ultimate partner. So
Wow. So
it
three
was
weeks, and did so you're in that beautiful safari park for a while.
a few days. And then we moved on and we went to Cape Town for, I don't even know how long, maybe a week or so.
Hmm.
Oh my God, the place where we stayed there was just
Stunning as well.
like, not too, he chose some very nice
Beautiful
places.
places.
Yeah.
So what
So,
happened after the 3 weeks? So you lasted 3 weeks, and I
well,
guess you guys. So did you kind of go in the process of falling for each other in that time, or that had already happened before you met him?
mm, I would say right before we met, I knew for sure that I was gonna, like, I was right on the tip of the iceberg, just ready to be like tapped over. um, so I fell for him pretty quickly, and yeah, I'd say we both fell for each other really quickly, for
And then
sure.
what happened after the
Um,
3 weeks?
so normally, it's interesting. Normally, I think my just go-to mindset would be like, oh, we live so far away from each other. How is it going to be possible to ever see each other again? But because of the conversations that we had, it was like I actually had no worry. Like, we already started planning our next trip. He's like, "All right, I want to let's see each other again next month. We'll go somewhere, figure out where you want to go next month." So his next crazy idea, he's like, "All right, let's go." We've both never been skiing in our life. So he's like, "Let's go to the best ski resort in France."
Oh my gosh, amazing.
And we'll go skiing.
Love
I'm
this
like,
relationship.
I'm like, okay. Like he's like, I've never been skiing. I'm like, I've never been skiing. So, so yeah, just maybe a month later we met in France, and then we went to Italy.
How long were you
For
there for?
I think it was like 2 weeks, something like that.
Nice.
So yeah, it was harder for him to take. He owns a number of companies, so he's the CEO of a few different big companies in Saudi Arabia. So it's harder for him to take off lots of time.
I know. I was going
So
to say that's a lot of time off work. Yeah.
yeah. So luckily, I work for myself, and officially he works for himself too. Um, so, but he'd also told me that he had never taken that long of vacation. These were the longest vacations he'd ever taken in his life.
Mm.
Um, which I really, it meant so much to me that he would do
Yeah.
that for
Yeah,
me.
that's lovely.
It really meant a lot. So
Yeah, there's so many small and big gestures in that taking that time off, spending it
yeah.
with you, especially having not met you, taking that first month.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
Incredible
like,
gesture.
yeah. And you know, and not even like, even if you back up a little bit, even just taking the time for like phone calls in the morning and night, like for a busy CEO, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like we were talking easily, 45 minutes to an hour in the morning and another hour at nighttime, if not more. And those are like like maybe to a normal person it's like, oh yeah, I've got all the time in the world. But for him, like that's a big chunk of his life.
Yeah.
So these little things like really help me feel more comfortable, and I really just appreciated it so much. So
Okay, so you went on your second date to France. Amazing.
yes.
You both learned how to ski on that trip. Was it incredible?
I don't know. Well, we're both. I don't know if you say learn to ski, but yes, we tried. We attempted to ski.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've been there.
uh-huh.
I went to ski. I was terrified. I went down the green hill and I was like, happy with that. Super stoked with the green one. And
Oh,
then they
we
tell
were
me
just on we were on the kiddie run with
that's
all the
awesome.
little like the.
That's awesome. I know. I
It
was
was
looking
good.
at that black hill and the diamond going, I don't know how people do this. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, terrified.
but we
Okay.
still had fun. So
So you attempted to ski, amazing. So now what do you do? Are you still together with this person?
we're still together. So the thing is, so actually this month though has been really, really tough. This has been the toughest month I'd say in our relationship. It's Ramadan right now.
Okay.
So so with his, I'll call it schedule of, it's like a completely flipped around schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um it's really tough to be able to find the time like we did before to
Mhm.
talk daily. However though, it's really like I'm kind of in disbelief with myself, because my normal like go-to would be like freak out, like oh my gosh, like that whole thing, red flag that he's not finding the time to talk to me.
Right.
But because I think of what we created and the openness that we had in the beginning, even like for these few weeks where we're not talking as much, I feel somehow perfectly fine, and I feel still like confident. And like I did have my mini meltdown a week ago or so.
Mhm.
Um, I was like, "Do you ever want to see me again?" And he's like, "Of course I want to see you
Yeah.
again." And in my mind, it's like, "Oh my, come on, Alexandra! Like, it's a major holiday. Like, I know how this goes."
Yeah.
Um,
Well, because it also is
but
not Ramadan. In Ramadan, there's no drinking of water either, is there?
right, so he's fasting all day long,
Yeah.
and then the work hours are smaller, and then he at 6 p.m. he finally eats, and then after 6 p.m. because of all of the companies that he has, he needs to do more work. So then he's working until like 3 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
and then
Oof.
it's just completely all over the board. Um, so
And I assume that there would be some. I've never participated in Ramadan, but I assume there would be some sort of um, adjusting of your body, like especially not drinking water. Like it's one thing not eating
sure,
food, but not having water as well during the day is pretty intense.
it it's yeah. So actually, 2 years ago, I was living in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and I participated. I'm actually Jewish, but and
Okay.
he, why not? But no, it really wears on your energy is just so low.
Yeah.
And also another thing I have to point out that makes it really tough is during the day while you're fasting, you're also not supposed to have any type of sexual thoughts.
Oh, okay.
So like our normal flirting, if you want to call it that,
Okay.
like it's just not appropriate during this time.
Got it.
So there's a whole number of things where it's like,
Mm. Well, this is
okay, like
so it's some real adjusting for both of you for this month.
yeah. I would say, like, for any long distance relationship, like, if I look back to all the long distance relationships I've been in, which has been a few, oh God, but don't ask. But I would say, like, you have to just be open. You have, like, open communication, open minded, um, like, you have to be understanding, like I was actually really hoping to see my boyfriend right before Ramadan. Like he was saying that he was going to maybe come to Seattle right before Ramadan. It didn't work out. Like
Mhm.
did I feel heartbroken? Beyond heartbroken. But like I have to be understanding of the situation.
Right.
And I think that when each person is understanding and supportive of each other, and like the changes, like things can change from 1 minute to the next. And if you're okay with that, like you don't have to be okay with it, but to be able to like let it go and move past it, I think that's what makes the difference between something that can actually like work really long term and something that can end really quickly. I want to point out, so one thing is I think that anybody, like truly anybody, can do what I did. It's not some unheard of. It's not some crazy thing. Like what really worked for me was how I set up my dating profile. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was the real key to before any of this was able to happen is how I represented myself. Okay, so tip number one. I always think like what are 5 qualities in somebody else or what are like the man that you're wanting to meet, what are 5 qualities that he would be looking for? Think about that. And then take those 5 qualities and have each photo represent a different, each one of your photos represent one of those qualities. So if you're like, all right, I'm wanting a man that's really interested in somebody to travel with, then have a photo of yourself traveling somewhere. So then it's so easy. Like it doesn't take a lot of thought. You can look and be like, oh, that girl likes to travel. Oh, that girl likes really, nice food. That girl is open-minded and likes adventurous things. Or that girl prefers to lay on the beach and suntan. Whatever it might be, like it doesn't have to be rocket science for him to figure out who you are and what you're wanting. So that's a big thing. And then one really big tip too for your first date would be like go into it and pretend that he's already your boyfriend. Instead of having all of those first date jitters, like, oh, what do I do? What do I say? Like, go into it and think, like, what if this guy was already my boyfriend? How would I talk to him then? Maybe don't say, hey, baby. I don't know, but
Yeah,
go
yeah.
or just
To a
or
certain
already your
extent.
friend to a certain extent. But like, if he was already your friend, how would you talk to him?
Yeah.
And it just makes it so much easier. So
Awesome. Okay, and our
yeah.
final tip.
Oh, final tip. Mm, I would say that don't be afraid at all. So I'm going to give 3 different things: online, and then first date, and then going back to like not meeting people online because I that's one thing that I love to teach also.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that is
that's a
if
good
you
one.
see a guy, it doesn't matter where he is, if you're in the grocery store or walking down the street or in a bookstore or on an airplane. I've met plenty of men on airplanes before. um just don't be afraid to make the first move. Like, don't be afraid to walk up and just say something. It doesn't matter what it is. You can be like, hey, where did you get your Starbucks coffee? Like, even if the Starbucks is right there, it really doesn't matter what you say. It's just getting that first in and just starting a conversation.
Thanks for listening to the Rebel Love Podcast, the podcast about love, sex, and relationships. If you like this episode, please support us by subscribing and leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform, and find all the details of this episode and more at rebellove.com/podcast.